up, y'all? Today, we are going to take a look at all of our hidden doll rooms so far. The hidden doll rooms have become one of my favorite ways of making dioramas because everything is inside, it stays nice and neat, and looks pretty good on the shelves in my craft room. I mean, come on, who doesn't need a little organization in the craft room? Sometimes I can barely see the floor. I mean, like, for real. It's bad, y'all. It's bad. But I am trying. I mean, come on, give me points for trying. Which is why I am a big fan of these hidden doll rooms, and I've been slowly converting some of my other dioramas into these. We can line these up on our shelves, along with these magazine holders I found at Target for $1 each. They are pretty easy to assemble. I make labels using index cards and cardstock, then write whatever is going inside, glue it on, then use it to store a few dolls. So we can neatly store our rooms and our dolls. Now let's take a look at the rooms. The office was our first hidden doll room that we created at the beginning of this year. So I guess you could call this our prototype. This room was designed to be usable when closed and opened. I thought it was kind of a cute nook office area where we can expand the side if we want more area to play. Now, I did redecorate the office from the original look in the video for a calmer look and included our YouTube play buttons from previous videos. And thanks to Broombell Barbie on Instagram, I can update my Diamond YouTube play button because now we have a triangle. When I make these rooms, I really like having a window so we can shine in a little light to have more fun with our photos. This room only required one piece of foam board and we only have a partial floor. Then we decided to try it again. This is our living room hidden doll room that opens on the other side with double windows. For this room, we came up with the floor extension, where we just cut another piece of foam board to make up the difference and we lay it next to the smaller one. Then I went back and glued down a velour printed rug on top, connecting the two pieces. I thought this was a great idea. However, it can be a little tricky getting it past the window ledge. Yeah, I didn't think that all the way through. This is also a room that I redecorated after the video. I like to use poster putty to hang my art, so I do have the option of switching it around. And I completely redid the couch. I wanted arms on both sides, so we have a nice symmetrical look. In the video, we had a few house plants to liven the place up a little. That yarn piece on the wall is probably one of my favorites. I saw a life-size version in a magazine on Pinterest and I was like, yeah, I need that in miniature. When we made this video, we saw that we could combine the different hidden doll rooms to make bigger scenes. This is a lot of space. We can make more floor extensions to extend it out and have a nice size doll space. Or we can add more hidden doll rooms. This is our bedroom hidden doll room. For this room, we started making the floor connected. So we're gonna lay this piece down right here. Once again, I did have to get past a window, but this time I didn't add that little ledge, so it goes a little smoother. Once again, I redecorated the room after the video. I do that a lot, but for the most part, it's pretty much the same. The bed is glued to the walls, but there is storage underneath. I really just wanted a nice open space for photos and to display my plants. I bought these from Dolls Flowers Etsy shop. This side of the room is kind of sparse, so if we really wanted to, we could just add a little plant there to add a little more interest. But we can just take the office and place it on the side to expand the room. Or we can keep the office closed so it looks like you have to go around the corner. Then place the living room on the other side to get even more space To make a pretty big apartment for our dolls, all we need to do is make a little floor extension right here, and we're in business. So with these 3 rooms, I was really just trying to figure out the best way to make these hidden doll rooms so we get the most space and still be able to store them. Let's move this over here to turn it into a sectional. Then we can place the TV in front so the dolls can see it. Hey, Mini Toya, no shoes on the couch. We recently made a kitchen using the connected fold over floor method. It's a pretty small space, but it does open up to give it a nice roomy look, where I can display some 3D printed items from Stovall the Doll's Etsy shop, along with a few I made myself. In this kitchen, I wanted a very large window, so the sidewall is pretty much all window. We can put a doll scene behind the window to give the illusion we have a cityscape view. I forgot to put my flower on the table. Right now, I think this is like one of my favorite kitchens. I really like the color palette, there is some storage, and it was easy. As far as kitchens go, I put the living room next to the kitchen, not sure if I want my couch right next to my stove. But if I place the living room right here, that's another great option for a setup. It looks like the kitchen is in another room, which I love because it gives the illusion of a little entryway, which is so much fun in photos. Ah, that's so cool! And then if we start playing with the light, we can get some pretty realistic looking scenes here. Here is our rainbow bedroom that we made recently. I used a blue foam board for this room, and we're still using that fold down floor. With these blue walls, I felt like we needed a baseboard, but I didn't want it to poke out because the floor can move up and down, so I went with a paper baseboard to keep it flat. The furniture was a little large in this room, so I had to stand everything up in order to fit it into the box when closed. But in this room, we added a hidden closet inside of our hidden doll room, which added a little architectural detail and some corners, which I think makes the room a little more interesting. I struggled a little bit with the color palette here. These colors are very bright, and I'm used to very muted colors, but it was fun to try something different. I made this little pom-pom rug here that I wanted to use so bad, but I thought it was a little too much, so I went with this light lavender. However, seeing it here, I don't hate it. It kind of creates a box of color, so your eye goes from here to there, to there, to there. So I think it could work if you're okay with, all this color. The closet turns around, creating some storage in the room, which is always fun. We have 2 rooms inspired by Barbie's style on Instagram. We made one room in the video, and then the other, I just converted an older room into the same style so that they could go together and be easy to store. This is the one I converted. It used to be my Barbie style inspired office. I noticed on Barbie style, they often will use the same rooms and just switch out the pieces. So we do that with this space as well. It's a nice open space to display some of our miniatures, like this bag from Tiny Frock Shop. In the Barbie style photos, they do a lot with light, so windows are important. I cut these windows out of the original room that we built a while back, so they move. I think that's kind of cool. This one stays put. This one's a little loose, so it doesn't. That's annoying. Here is the room that we made in our Barbie style unboxing video. Inspired by the doll box, this space is very, very simple. We can place both rooms together, rearrange the furniture to create an apartment scene. I feel like this is very Barbie style-esque. Nice open spaces, lots of windows, sophisticated, classy. When we made these floors, we knew we wanted to play with the light, so I thought having a shiny floor would be a good idea. We covered the floors with clear packing tape, which creates a nice little reflection. With this setup and the 2 rooms combined, this space adds up to about 29 inches across, which would take up a lot of shelf space. But since these are hidden doll rooms, we can cut down on some of that size. Our doll attic. This room is completely random, but I really wanted to play with angles and lighting. This is one of our earlier rooms where we were making floor extensions, which have their pluses and minuses. For starters, they are not attached, so they can move around while playing, and sometimes you get a seam in the floor. But since they're not connected, it was a little easier to add like these baseboards and the woodwork in this room and not have to worry about trying to get past it when opening and closing the room. And as for trying to get around that seam, well, I just try to use a print that also has vertical lines. Wood grain is a great one to try to disguise it. It'll just look like there's a little bit of a crack in the wood. But that window is definitely the highlight of this space for me. I just place one of my lights right in the top, and we can have a lot of fun playing with the light. Plus, it's a great place to store some of those dollhouse paintings. This was a fun room to do. I have always loved the work of Jane Austen, and when Bridgerton came out, I jumped at the opportunity to create a Regency-inspired room. This is a connected floor, and in hindsight, I kind of wish I had made it shiny because it would just make it, pop. We created all of the furniture in this room. It was a lot of fun. Definitely inspired by the set design on Bridgerton, heavily influenced by Daphne. In the series, a lot of her rooms were blue, plus I personally love the color blue. Little side note, Bridgerton, not so much for kids. So if calling this a Bridgerton room makes you, a little uncomfortable, you can always just say Regency era, then it's like historical, so yeah. This is totally not my usual style, but I had a lot of fun creating this little seat area. What is this, like a love seat? The little side table, hand painting the art, making the sconces out of hot glue. We even made the wallpaper. I took clip art and pieced them together to make this wallpaper. If you look closely, you can see that these are like bananas. That's a banana there, that's a banana there. Then we have a little fan in the middle. And we got kind of happy with this design. With that large window there, this makes a really pretty backdrop for photos. And we've even used it in our Summer and Cali series. In addition to making houses, we've made a few stores. Froggy & Co. jewelry store, inspired by Tiffany's. Everything in this store just comes tumbling down whenever you move it, so I just gotta take a minute to set things up. I think this room is kind of fun because we can move the display cases and the bookcase to switch the room around to give it a different look. We can place the bookcase there, over there to extend the wall, or back over here to close in the space. We have lots of little display cases to display our doll jewelry, and it's a nice little fancy shop for our doll stories. The only thing that I would do different is to add a base to the bottom of the jewelry cases, just like we did on the bookcase, and I would have it extend a little bit in the back. That way we could have the doll stand on it and create weight so that these don't topple over quite so easily. And yeah, I think I'm going to do that later. I'm not actually a big jewelry person in real life. I think all I ever wear is like my wedding ring. But in the miniverse, yeah, I'll be that lady wearing fancy jewelry with t-shirts. The grocery store, where everything is always falling down. I am totally tempted to just glue everything in place. But then part of me is like, you're gonna regret it because you're gonna want to take something off of the shelf. Which is probably true because I know that if I don't glue everything down, then I'm probably just never gonna use the set because I have to clean it up every time I want to use it. Now, we could use glue dots, we could use poster putty, we could use double-sided tape. And we do have quite a few doubles, so I think it's okay if we glue down most of the items and just leave a few free. And I think that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, that's better. For the grocery store, we went with a slightly different floor design. We only glued a small portion of the floor in the center, so both walls can swing open and give us a lot of space. The counter is not glued down, we can move it around wherever we want. I used a large printable on the back wall to give the illusion of more items. And if we just made another room, we could use it to create a larger store. I love using mini brands with my dolls. This is a great way to display them and create a scene for our mini world. I would say construction for this space is pretty simple, and we added a Barbie grocery cart for another accessory. At this point, we've made quite a few grocery stores, but I really like how this one is easy to store. And here is an example of where we added the piece of foam board to the bottom of a counter for the doll to stand on. So when they lean against the counter, everything stays put and they don't fall over. That's what I need to add to the jewelry cases in the jewelry store. Last but not least, our record store. When I went to the antique mall a few weeks back, they had this really cool little record booth in the corner. I got inspired and I just had to build one in miniature. I used the same floor design as the grocery store for this room. There are no windows, so construction went pretty easy. All we had to do was make 3 little storage units, 2 on the walls, and 1 that is freestanding. And then like 1.5 billion records. Each one really does have a small record inside, so that's a fun little detail. And then I was like, I am going to be making records the rest of my life if I can't figure out a way to make it look like there's more records without actually having to make every last one. Hence the printables. Overall, I think it turned out pretty cool. It's great for photos, the faux neon lights at the top really pop, and now our dolls can jam all summer long. It was a lot of fun searching through my photography to make these little album covers. And it all goes perfect with our little record player we made a while back. Now that's all of our hidden doll rooms so far, but what do you say we add one more? Gotta change our background right quick. And we are just going to show the basic construction using 1 piece of foam board. I get my foam board from Target and Michael's. It's usually about $3. This one measures 20 by 28. I like 20 by 30, but this will do. If you don't want to use foam board, you could always use cardboard instead, like trifolds or boxes. I will also need a cutting mat, an X-Acto knife, and hot glue. I lay my foam board so it measures 20 by 28 inches. Using a ruler, I cut 7 inches from the top. I'm using a clear acrylic ruler and I'm just pressing down, and then I place my X-Acto knife blade next to the ruler, push down and cut. So we get 2 rectangles, one measuring 7 by 28 and the other is 13 by 28. We will use the larger piece for the walls and the shorter one for the floor. Take the one we will use for the walls and flip it over so the wrong side is facing up. If it's the same on both sides, then you don't need to worry about it. I want to have 7 inches in the middle, so it's time to do a little math. If we have 28 inches going across, but we want 7 inches in the center, then that leaves us with 21 inches for the side walls. There are 2 side walls, so we need to divide 21 by 2, which is 10.5. Depending on the length of your foam board and how wide you want the center to be, your measurements may change. On the sides, measure over 10.5 inches. Score on the line, but you want to make sure you don't cut all the way through so it can bend and snap and still be together. Repeat on the other side so when we stand it up, it makes a trifold. Take the remaining foam board, measure it to the side wall to mark where to trim it, trim off the excess, glue it to the walls, I'm gluing it to the back and one side wall. And that's all it takes to make the basic room. If you want to cut out a window, I would do that before gluing on the floor. Now you can decorate it however you want and create your own space. I'm gonna leave this one blank to use as a photography studio. We can add a stool from a previous video so our dolls can sit down and have their photo taken. For the yearbook, a little over a week ago, we asked everyone on Instagram to post a photo for our doll yearbook. And you all sent in so many. I tried to use as many as I could to create a 2021 Dollstagram yearbook. That is free to download and print on our blog, myfroggystuff.blogspot.com. We printed it on regular computer paper, and I tried a gloss paper. On the printable, you will find a cover for the book, the template so we can make a nice little hardback book. Then we have a jacket, and we have the pages. Takes 2. Cut out the template and the cover. Glue the template onto cardstock or an index card. Cut it out. After cutting out the cover, fold on the lines to make a crease. Glue the templates between the creases. There should be a little bit of space between them. Fold over the tabs and glue them down to make the hardback cover. Cut out all of the pages, leaving them connected in rows. Take the first page, fold it over, then fold back, then continue folding accordion style until all pages are folded. Apply glue in the back. I'm just using a glue stick to make double-sided pages, where the first page and the last page are still single. Take the next row of photos, glue the first page to the back of the last page. Continue folding and gluing to put all the pages together. And still, the first and last page should be single. So we can glue them into the hardback cover, making sure the first and last page are glued down flat. Then just press and hold while it dries to create the yearbook. On the front, we have a 21 that is made out of pictures. On the side, it says 2021 Dollstagram yearbook. On the back, there are more pictures. I tried to squeeze a few more in on the front and the very back of the book. And then all of the pages, you'll see 9 blocks of photos. If I missed your photo, I am so sorry. Hopefully we can try this again next year and I will just give myself a little more time to get it done. But we have a lot of photos in here. We made a jacket as well. Just cut it out. Bend it right on the edge of this white box. Then we're going to place the book into that little corner there. Wrap it around. And then we can tuck it under like so. That's not neat. And you're done. The jacket is not necessary. They're just repeat photos of what's on the inside. I just thought it was a fun little extra detail. Photo paper will give your book a nice little shine. You know, I might use it for the jacket. If you're using photo paper, just make sure the ink is dry before you assemble the book or it may smudge. And it can be printed in grayscale so you can save a little ink. And I just counted, we used over 500 photos. Thank you for joining us while we took a look at all of our hidden doll rooms so far and made a little Dollstagram yearbook. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell and follow us on Instagram at myfroggystuff and the frog vlog. And we will see you next time. Bye!